The Galactic Survey Station orbited peacefully above the methane clouds of Kepler 422b, its massive superstructure a testament to the engineering prowess of 17 different species. Commander Vel Nash of the Cretin Collective had overseen the station for 42 cycles without incident. That streak ended the day the human cubs arrived. Tali and Braun tumbled through the observation deck's entrance, their small frames barely reaching the access panel. They were the offspring of the human engineers who'd been assigned to the station 3 lunar periods ago, part of humanity's recent integration into the galactic community. The adult humans were, as usual, somewhere in the lower decks performing what they called improvements to systems that had functioned perfectly well for centuries. "I told you there'd be nobody here," Tali whispered, her dark eyes scanning the empty chamber. At 7 standard years, she was the elder by exactly 14 months, a fact she reminded her brother of constantly. Braun, still clutching the maintenance drone he'd somehow reprogrammed to follow him like a pet, nodded enthusiastically. "Mom said the gravity stabilizers were in this sector. Do you think they glow?" Vel Nash would later reflect that he should have questioned why human parents allowed their young such freedom aboard a military-grade space station. But humans were new, strange, and their parenting methods seemed to operate on principles of controlled chaos that defied all known xenopsychology protocols. The observation deck was a cathedral of transparent aluminum and holographic displays, showing the swirling orange atmosphere of the gas giant below. Along the western wall, behind what should have been an impenetrable access panel, lay the gravity regulation system, the delicate network of graviton field projectors that kept the station's 100,000 inhabitants comfortable in standard G-forces. "There!" Tali pointed to a panel marked with symbols in 6 languages, all variations of "authorized personnel only," "critical system." To the children, it looked like an invitation. Braun's modified drone made short work of the access codes. The humans had a saying about locks and curious children, Vel Nash would learn. They were merely temporary obstacles. The panel slid open with a satisfying hiss, revealing a crystalline interface that pulsed with soft blue light. "Pretty," Braun breathed. The graviton control interface was never meant to be operated manually. It was designed for AI oversight, with quantum lock safety protocols and redundant fail-safes. But it was also designed by the architect cast of Proxima, who believed that beauty and function were inseparable. The controls were arranged in elegant spirals of light, each touch point a miniature work of art. Tali reached out and pressed the brightest node. The station lurched. In the command center, 17 different alarm systems activated simultaneously. Vel Nash's crest feathers stood rigid as his tactical display erupted in warnings. The graviton field regulators were fluctuating wildly. Impossible. The safeties should have— "Commander!" his second officer shrieked. "The gravity net is collapsing in sectors 7 through 12. But it wasn't collapsing. It was rising. Throughout the station, personnel experienced the bizarre sensation of becoming lighter. A Threnodian merchant dropped her datapad and watched it fall upward. A Selenite engineer found himself drifting toward the ceiling of the reactor room. In the mess hall, 300 beings of various species suddenly discovered what humans called zero-G food fights looked like in slow motion. On the observation deck, Tali and Braun giggled as they floated, their small fingers dancing across the crystalline interface. "This one makes it bouncy." Braun pressed another node. The entire station shuddered as localized gravity fields inverted, creating pockets of up and down that followed no rational pattern. Vel Nash activated the emergency frequency. "Human engineer Sarah, report to the observation deck immediately. Your spawn have weaponized our gravitational infrastructure." Sarah Chen's response crackled with static and what might have been a sigh. "Which kids? How many do you have?" "Fair point. On my way." For 3 minutes, the Galactic Survey Station became a physics experiment conducted by beings who barely understood the consequences of their actions. Tali discovered that rotating the outer ring controls could make the entire western arm of the station spin its gravity field, creating a carnival ride effect. Braun found the master amplitude dial and cranked it, causing the station to hover, actually hover, despite orbiting in space, its gravitational field pushing against the planet's magnetosphere. The effect was visible from the surface colonies. 17 different species watched their supposedly immovable space station wobble like a toy in zero-G. In those 3 minutes, the station's graviton generators consumed enough energy to power a small moon. Two diplomats from rival species who'd been arguing for weeks found themselves literally walking on the ceiling together, which somehow resolved their trade dispute. The station's AI logged 47,000 safety violations, and Commander Velnash discovered that his species could experience stress-induced molt at an accelerated rate. When Sarah Chen finally arrived, she found her children floating in the center of the observation deck, surrounded by a galaxy of holographic warnings that they'd turned into an impromptu light show. The graviton interface pulsed with patterns it was never designed to produce. "Guys," she said, in that particular tone human parents use that suggested disappointment wrapped in inevitability. "What did we talk about regarding touching things that keep people alive?" "But Mom," Tali protested, still drifting, "we fixed it. Look, the gravity is working." She wasn't wrong. The station had stabilized, though at settings that would take Velnash's engineers 3 days to fully restore. Sarah pulled her children down, or was it up, and began the process of resetting the system. As she worked, Braun tugged on her sleeve. "Are we in trouble?" Sarah considered the question, glancing at the access panel her son had hacked, the system her daughter had turned into a toy, and the 17 species of personnel who were still trying to reorient themselves to normal gravity. "Sweetie," she said, "I think the station is in trouble. You two are just human." Later, as Velnash filed his incident report, he included a recommendation that would echo through galactic community protocols for generations. Humanity's young possess an innate ability to locate critical systems and an apparent immunity to the concept of "do not touch." Suggest all human families be assigned dedicated watchers, or alternatively, we childproof the universe. The Galactic Council's response was brief. "Proposal noted. Childproofing deemed impossible. Recommend adapting." And so the galaxy learned what humans had known for millennia. Where there were curious children, there would be chaos. The only question was whether you'd survive it with your sense of humor intact. Tali and Braun were grounded for 2 weeks. They spent the time in their quarters, where they absolutely, definitely did not reprogram the food synthesizer to produce zero-gravity ice cream. Probably.